Ralph Nader, born February 27, 1934, is an American political activist as well as an author, lecturer, and attorney. Areas of particular concern to him include consumer protection, humanitarianism, environmentalism, and democratic government. Nader came to prominence in 1965 with the publication of his book Unsafe at Any Speed, a critique of the safety record of American automobile manufacturers in general, and most famously the Chevrolet Corvair. In 1999, a New York University panel of journalists ranked Unsafe at Any Speed 38th among the top 100 pieces of journalism of the 20th century. Nader is a five-time candidate for President of the United States, having run as a write-in candidate in the 1992 New Hampshire Democratic primary, as a Green Party nominee in 1996 and 2000, and as an independent candidate in 2004 and 2008. He was born in Winston, Connecticut, to Nathra and Rose Nader, who were immigrants from Lebanon and members of the Rum and Tiochi Greek Orthodox minority. His family's native language is Arabic, which he and his sister have spoken along with English since childhood. His father worked in a textile mill, later opening up a bakery and a restaurant where he discussed politics with his customers. Ralph's sister Laura Nader became an anthropologist. Nader graduated from the Gilbert School, a private post-secondary school in Winston, Connecticut, in 1951. He then enrolled and was accepted into Princeton University, with the university offering him a scholarship, though his father turned it away, saying that it should go to a student who couldn't afford tuition. Nader graduated with an A.B. magna cum laude from the Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs in 1955. Nader then went on to Harvard Law School, where he received his LL.B. in 1958. After serving 6 months on active duty in the U.S. Army in 1959, he was admitted to the bar and started practice as a lawyer in Hartford, Connecticut. He was an assistant professor of history and government at the University of Hartford from 1961 to 1963. In 1964, he moved to Washington, D.C., where he was appointed political aide to the Assistant Secretary of Labor Daniel Patrick Moynihan, and also advised the United States Senate Subcommittee on Car Safety. He has served on faculty at the American University Washington College of Law also. Nader began to write about consumer safety issues in articles published in the Harvard Law Record, a student publication of Harvard Law School. He first criticized the automobile industry in 1959 in an article, The Safe Car You Can't Buy, published by The Nation. In 1965, Nader wrote the book Unsafe at Any Speed, in which he claimed that many American automobiles were unsafe to operate. The first chapter, The 40 Corvair, the one-car accident, pertained to the Corvair manufactured by the Chevrolet division of General Motors, which had been involved in accidents involving spins and rollovers. More than 100 lawsuits were pending against GM related to accidents involving the popular compact car. Nader based his initial investigations into car safety on these lawsuits. In early March 1996, several media outlets, including the New Republic and the New York Times, reported that GM had tried to discredit Nader, hiring private detectives to tap his phones and investigate his past, and hiring prostitutes to trap him in compromising situations. Nader sued GM for invasion of privacy and settled the case for $425,000. Nader's lawsuit against GM was ultimately decided by the New York Court of Appeals, whose opinion indicates tort law to expanded tort law to cover overzealous surveillance. Nader used the proceeds from the lawsuit to start the Pro-Consumer Center for the Study of Responsive Law. Nader's advocacy of automobile safety and the publicity generated by the publication of Unsafe at Any Speed, along with concern over escalating nationwide traffic fatalities, contributed to Congress's unanimous passage of the 1966 National Traffic and Motor Vehicle Safety Act. The act established the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, marking a historic shift in responsibility for automobile safety from the consumer to the government. The legislation mandated a series of safety features for automobiles, beginning with safety belts and stronger windshields. Several years later, in 1972, Texas A&M University conducted a Safety Commission report on the Corvair for the National Traffic Highway Safety Administration. It found that the 1960 to 1963 Corvairs possessed no greater potential for loss of control than its contemporaries in extreme situations. According to Crash Course by Paul Ingrassia, Corvairs were environmentally friendly due to their smaller size and lighter weight. Nader's safety-focused activism negatively affected the cause of eco-efficiency. In contrast, the former GM executive John DeLorean asserted on A Clear Day You Can See General Motors, which was published in 1979, that Nader's criticisms were valid. Hundreds of young activists inspired by Nader's work came to DC to help him with other projects. They became known as the Nader's Raiders, and under Nader investigated government corruption, publishing dozens of books with their results. Nader's Raiders, Vanishing Air, The Chemical Feast, The Interstate Commerce Mission, Old Age, The Water Lords, Who Runs Congress, Whistleblowing, The Big Boys, Collision Course, No Contest, and Destroy the Forest. In 1971, Nader co-founded the non-governmental organization Public Citizen with fellow public interest lawyer Alan Morrison as an umbrella organization for these projects. Today, Public Citizen has over 225,000 members and investigates congressional health, environmental, economic, and other issues, Nader wrote. The consumer must be protected at times from his own indiscretion and vanity. During the Watergate affair, Nader challenged the dismissal of Robert Bork from Nixon's special prosecutor in the aftermath of the Saturday Night Massacre. In the 1970s and 1980s, Nader was a key leader in the anti-nuclear power movement. By 1976, consumer advocate Ralph Nader, who later became allied with the environmental movement, stood as a titular head of opposition to nuclear energy. The Critical Mass Energy Project was formed by Nader in 1974 as a national anti-nuclear umbrella group. It was probably the largest national anti-nuclear group in the U.S., with several hundred local affiliates and an estimated 200,000 supporters. The organization's main efforts were directed at lobbying activities and providing local groups with scientific and other resources to campaign against nuclear power. Nader advocates the complete elimination of nuclear energy in favor of solar, tidal, wind, and geothermal, citing environmental work safety, migrant labor, national security, disaster preparedness, foreign policy, government accountability, and democratic governance issues to bolster his position. Nader was also a prominent supporter of the Airline Deregulation Act. Ralph was unprecedented and challenged the status quo. He became a very important voice, and he questioned our government and made people realize that our government may just be corrupt. Imagine the effect that it would have if Americans today took after him and didn't just sit back and let government and corporate America do whatever they want. There needs to be a change.